Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Emberguard.
And in this video, we're going to be speculating on the Reavers of Ruin box set.
So the Reavers of Ruin, 4 Chaos Warbands that GW have announced will be coming out with Spitewood sometime later this year. They called it Reavers of Ruin, and they didn't even include Garrick's Reavers in it. I'm quite annoyed by that.
That's why it's Reavers of Ruin. They've basically
ruined it.
They've ruined it.
They've ruined
from
Reavers.
The get-go.
Yeah.
So this is the second video in our Wild Speculation series.
They're probably going to get sillier as they go along.
On the Grand Alliance, it's getting later and later.
They get hotter and more tired.
On the Grand Alliance. So this is the Grand Alliance, each Grand Alliance box. This one is the Chaos box.
So in this one, whilst we do have 4 warbands, only 3 of them are new this time round, and we also have the Discord who are coming back.
So the Order warbands in the box,
Yep.
which was covered in video 1, they were all new. None of those have been available for competitive play, and as you just said, the Discord have already been involved in competitive play and doing quite well.
Yes, they were one of the 13, which is one of the warbands that GW released print only online, where they said, oh, we're going to bring these out so that you have them for another year, because some of them came out quite close to the end of version 1, which was nice of them to do. It's a bit boring to see them come out again in this 16. I would have liked to have seen somebody else, but that's by the by.
Now, it does raise the important question of whether they're going to just port them straight over wholesale or whether they're going to change them, and we'll come on to that when we talk about Discord.
So we're going through them in literally the order they've got them on their website, because why not?
We have little imagination.
Very little imagination. And the first one is the Clawpack.
Probably the world's least favourite Skaven warband.
Yeah, I'm sure John's there at home now, like writing an angry email to us about it. I would have rather have seen the Plague Pack or Garrick's Reavers, to be honest. Anything else chaosy, really?
Yeah, I know they are chaos, but Skaven to me aren't chaos, if that makes sense. They're kind of...
They're the same as like
the
Blood Elves aren't Order. They should be chaos. That's my Warhammer Fantasy roleplay.
I don't really know what they could be, the Skaven, but destruction, I suppose, they eat things. They don't fit into the chaos in the same way for me.
No.
I see why they're in the box, but I think I would love to have seen the Plague Pack because they were a much more interesting warband, I think. And I prefer the models.
Yes.
I do quite like Skittershank himself. His model's quite cool.
It is what it is. We've got the Clawpack and they are aggro.
Absolutely. So they're going to be probably keying off assassins again.
Yeah.
Probably their inspire conditions probably going to stay the same, do you think?
Yeah, I think before the fights had slightly different ones, because it was like either if they targeted the enemy leader or if the enemy leader had 4 wounds or was slain. So it was a bit different, but I think now it will just be a case of if the enemy leader has 4 wounds or is dead, everyone inspires, because that fits the same sort of thing.
Tough, isn't it?
It could be quite tough, but you only need a couple of fairly hefty 2 damage attacks to go in. It was tough in the old game as well, wasn't it?
They did have a horrible... Well, they were mitigated slightly by the fact that some of them would just target the leader. But I don't think they'll split it.
No, I can't see that they would waste it.
I think it might be too easy if it was just target the leader. It'd be interesting to see what they do. I don't know. This is not a very good speculation because I've actually got no idea what they do. I kind of feel like...
It'll fit that theme, I think, of attacking the enemy leader. Yeah. Whether it will be a case of just targeting him, or maybe it will just be making a successful attack against the enemy leader would inspire him. But then you're only inspiring individual fighters.
Yes.
Whereas if your warband works as a unit to damage or take out the enemy leader, then everyone would inspire, and that feels like it's a bit more of a reward.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a successful attack, and if it's 4 or more wounds, then you inspire everybody.
So maybe something like that. It could be a 2-tier inspiration.
Yeah. No, anyway, we've taken far too long to talk about the inspire condition, so it'll be the same theme, but we're not quite sure exactly how it's knuckled down.
Stats-wise, for all the fighters, they all looked pretty good. They were fairly reliable port from version 1, and I don't think there's anything in there other than changing the 2 minions stats around, because I think they got them the wrong way round on the original cards. Other than that, I think I'd keep them pretty much the same. You think they're going to have an assassin keyword each of them? Or not? It feels like it would be a missed opportunity not to put an assassin rune mark on those fighters and then key stuff off of that.
Yes, it feels like that too. So things like mark for death.
That could be their warband specific thing, a bit like Borgits. They have to pick a fighter and they're marked for death, and then anybody who's an assassin gets a reroll or something like that, maybe the other 2 little minions can get inspired and get an assassin token at the same time at that point. I
suppose they could use mark for death and say you choose who's marked for death, and you can inspire a bit like the Worthy Skull.
Could be.
Making attacks against them inspires you.
Yeah, and then if you do kill him, well, that's it for that round. You're going to have to pick someone beginning of the next round, something like that. I mean, maybe it's going to feel like that's a bit done, Now we've had a few war bands.
It's quite common. I like the idea of their assassination hunting down the leader. I like that.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll have something else on their war scroll which enables you to push towards the leader.
Yep, could be.
Yeah.
So being an aggro warband, I think the war scroll is going to be a fairly straightforward set of useful abilities across the board.
Yeah, I would think so. They normally are for aggro warbands.
Maybe it'll be things like only your assassins or people with assassin rune marks can use them to make them a little bit more elite only, and the minions need to inspire to then get access to them, but that feels like it would be a fairly reliable thing to do. And maybe some of those fighters will get additional rune marks to give them access to specific abilities, like...
Any specific ability you'd like to think of?
Barbs!
Hey Barbs!
Which might be like after a successful attack from that assassin, you can give the target a net counter, and the next time that fighter there makes a move action or a charge action, they take a wound and you remove the move counter like they used to have in the old version of the game.
Yeah,
That'd be
I'd
quite
like to
nice.
see that back, and also I just want to be able to go Barbs!
Barbs!
Which is, to be honest, my favourite ability of the game, I think.
You've also got things like smoke bombs, which enable you to give stagger tokens to lots of people, which could be quite useful if some of your worst fighters are a little bit more inaccurate on their attacks.
I like that. That again helps you with that attacking the leader because you can stagger them with the smoke bombs. So I'd like to see Barbs. I'd like to see smoke bombs. So that's two things on their raw scroll.
Yeah, you've got Skittering Blur was one of their abilities, which meant that assassins just couldn't be targeted in the next round. That could be quite nice as a one use per game ability.
Yeah, and did they have one where you could kill a minion?
You could, yes. There was one where the damage inflicted on the assassin would then land on a nearby minion instead.
I can see that being on a war scroll.
That would be quite nice.
Yeah,
Very thematic.
Sacrifice one thing.
Yeah, I quite like to see that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think they feel like a fairly straightforward warband to make a little aggro-y setup for.
Yeah.
Without having to
hunt the leader.
Yeah.
Dagger shenanigans, some trappy shenanigans, and maybe avoid your leader being killed or your assassin being killed on the war scroll.
Yeah. Work well with something like Blazing Assault or Raging Slayers, something like that, to get you some built-in accuracy and some more aggro in there. I think they do quite nicely. The next warband, and this just shows how much we lie, because it's not the next one on the list, but it is the Wurmspat.
The Wurmspat. Now, I'm pretty much going to put my feet up now because Pete is the Wurmspat king.
Well, I would like to be, but unfortunately I was never very good with them, but I think that's because nobody was very good with them.
You love to hate them because you would say, I'm going to play them, I've got this really good deck with them, it's going to be really good, and then by the end of it you'd be like, Wurmspat!
I remember playing a game
useless.
near the end, you had Domitans, I had Wurmspat, and I think you killed everybody in the first round. It's on YouTube. You spat in my face near the end as well.
I remember that.
Yeah. and it was just one of those games. It was just terrible. So I really am hoping that the Wurmspat come back and they are
OP.
They are. They're just unbeatable. They all start on 10 wounds, 5 defense dice on shields. They're a mastery warband, so I think a lot like the Gardeners we're going to see something, but I don't think we're going to see, because they've stolen the cycle. Wurmspat had cycles. I don't think we're going to see that, but they did have cycle cards, so that might come into their war scroll.
Counter to that. Actually, I don't think we're going to see it, but I think it would be really nice if they did. I think it would be really nice if they had any Nurgle warband they ever do from now on
has this kind of
a circle with stuff going on,
and
they could have the heal in it, because. Well, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit. I know you've put in the notes that you don't think that you think the heal might be a bit strong.
If you rolled shields to reduce the damage,
it might be a bit strong.
Possibly.
That ties in with the circle because you could have a heal in it, and it's kind of like a watered down version of that.
Yeah, when you're on that point in the cycle,
somebody gets a wound back,
and it could be because they could get the iconography in here. And I know we're jumping into the war scroll design already, but they could have this trefoil or whatever it's called, and it could be. You have one each round, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And maybe the first... You can pick where you start, but you have to go on to the next one in the next round. And so maybe one of them could be shields reduce damage.
Yeah.
Maybe the next one could be people attacking you from adjacent, take a damage on a roll of a hammer or a crit. Maybe the last one could be something a bit more... wacky and nurgly, like I mean they had a lot of cards, so they had things they had some things that gave them like plus damage or plus speed or things like that, so it could be anything like that, and you could have that cycle again, but you pick where you start and you have to go round it. Each round is a different thing, so it would give you something different each time.
A fetid cloud gives you support or something for the round. They're quite interesting. I envisage something a bit more like the Gardeners with 5 or 6.
I think they have 7 because 7 is the number of Nurgle, I think.
But with different things that happen.
Yeah.
So not just the damage thing, but like I didn't know what, but I quite like it. Would be thematic to always have them the same then.
Coming back to the start, their inspiration mechanic. In the old version, it was 3 or more enemy fighters injured or out of action. Seems pretty straightforward. I reckon they keep that kind of thing.
Possibly they could say not out of action, just include to damage everybody, but
yeah,
that's I don't know. I have no strong feelings about it.
I'm always wary when it's like spread the damage out, because there's no benefit in the game to spreading damage out unless it's to score objectives.
Especially these days as well, because there's quite a lot of heal.
Yeah.
So I know I was playing with you with somebody who only just damaged multiple fighters, and you bloody kept healing them.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah. So I don't know whether it should be just 3 damaged enemy fighters that have to be alive, or whether it's just 3 damaged or dead fighters.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see something like that again for them.
Yeah.
Stats wise, they all look pretty solid. I think Septimus goes up to 3 damage when he's inspired, but without Grievous, so you could get a Grievous on him as well. That'd be quite nasty.
4 wounds fighters.
Golgot was pretty solid on like 3 hammers. Interestingly, Fecula, she had a range 3, 2 sword, 2 damage attack.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I haven't seen very many range 3, 2 damage attacks other than Black Powder. Yeah. And there are several leaders in this set of 16 warbands that have a range 3, 2 damage attack.
I suppose people have more wounds, I suppose, but yeah.
Yeah, and when she inspired, she stayed on 2 swords. So, and I think that was the same across the board. Anybody who's got a range 3, 2 damage attack, they stayed 2 swords.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, because
you start to get more than that. It's too powerful.
Exactly. So I don't mind that. All the other stats were pretty faithful ports. So they're on 5 wounds, they're 3 move, 1 shield, and then 2 inspired, except for Fecula, who stays on 1. I'm pretty happy with all of those stats. I think they'll do quite nicely with that kind of range on them. Thinking back to the War Scroll again, whilst we possibly got this circle, whether it's something that continually rotates around like with the Gardeners, or whether it's something where you just have 3 and you have to pick 1 each round, there's generally still that warband specific ability. And I don't know whether that's just going to be the shield reduces damage thing. Maybe it might be something like if you roll any shields, you just reduce the damage by 1, even if you roll 2 shields or have something to give you 3 shields.
I think I would much prefer that.
Yeah.
I think, because reducing it by 2 is very strong.
Yeah, even though it's only reducing damage by 1, that's still a nice little bit for them, because they'll be on 5 wounds each, so that's going to make them pretty tough.
It's tough.
You do already have that with the crits. If you roll more crits than your opponent, you reduce the damage by 1. Whether it would stack with that, or whether it would just be a case of one or the other.
So if you roll a shield and a crit, I think you do by 2.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe they just gain the steadfast rule if they roll shields or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Something like that, maybe. That would be simpler, and it would key into the other game rules already. It's just like they count shields for steadfast.
Yeah, okay, I like that. That's much better.
So it's not too bad. No. It increased their chances of -1 damage and not being pushed back.
Yeah.
But it doesn't overly break them by enabling multiple reductions on damage.
Actually, because they should be hard to push back.
Yeah, they're great big hulking things that just sort of stand there. So that would actually work quite nicely now. Yeah. Literally just thought of that as we've been talking. But yeah, it could just be a case of...
That better be in there.
That better be in there. So yeah, if you roll 2 shields and your opponent rolls 1 crit, then you beat them.
You win because for the steadfast ability. Yeah, I like that.
Nice and simple.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right, we're off.
Let us know. Other than that, though, I think they're going to be, as they're a mastery warband, they're probably going to be able to punch quite hard. Probably not going to be jumping onto objectives, as there's only 3 fighters, but you never know. You might be able to get supremacy out of them.
They've got to have some tricks if they're mastery, though, but I guess that's the trefoil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So maybe that's going to be enough for them. I'm really keen to see what they do with them, because they're mastery. They've got to have something up their sleeve. They've already done something quite nice with the Gardeners.
Sleeves?
I don't know. Well,
just sloughing off flesh, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's just a fold. Yeah, just peel back. So I'm really interested to see what these guys are going to bring to the new version.
Well, we talked about everybody loved these warbands, but they are definitely a warband that everybody loved, and the models are great.
Yeah.
I think of all the warbands that you played,
of all the warbands and all the games,
they're the one that I was most interested in playing. I think.
Definitely looking forward to seeing them, and all the new paint jobs that are going to come out, because they always look fantastic when you paint them.
Looking forward to that. So
from one incredibly underpowered warband, we go to possibly one of
the most
overpowered warbands for a very short period of time in Underworlds before they got nerfed, which is the Gnarlspirit Pack.
Yeah, a flex warband.
Yeah, I think that fits with them, because you've got is it Gaul, the big guy with a massive hammer? He can smash people in the face, but you've also got some running arounders and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they weren't very flex. They were basically just kick people's teeth in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, I feel like they were pretty aggro. They're obviously going to change them slightly, so we'll see. Originally in version 1, as you said, they were pretty broken.
Yeah, they had those spirit counters, and you could put it on whenever you liked and take it off whenever you liked, and you
pretty
inspired
much.
as soon as you took it off. So you were just like, put it on, take it off right now, I'm amazing.
It was pretty much how it worked, yeah. And they did nerf that slightly.
Yes, they changed the timing of it.
Yeah, they changed the timing, which made them less powerful. But people kind of just thought, I'm not playing those, they're too good.
Yeah, although I do remember in a tournament, one of the last tournaments we played up in Market Harbour, and my vampires went up against them, and I got crushed by them,
okay.
absolutely annihilated.
Okay, fair enough.
So they
were
still
pretty
had
fun. They
teeth.
did pack a punch.
They did. The original inspiration mechanic for them also tied into their being overcome when they had a spirit counter, and originally it was a bit too easy to make them overcome, and so they changed the rule.
Immediately overcome and then immediately inspire.
Yes, yeah. So it was all about adding a spirit token on or removing that spirit token. I can see them continuing that because it's nice and thematic and it sets a nice little tone for them. But I think to make things easy, they'll probably just say after a fighter's activation, you can either add or remove a spirit counter.
Yeah.
If you add a spirit counter, uninspire that fighter. Or if you remove a spirit counter, inspire that fighter.
So what they might do, they might say in the first round, you give them a spirit counter, and then you then can take it off at the beginning of the next round if they've got one.
Oh, right, yeah,
so
yeah,
they're
yeah.
inspired.
Yep, so your first round you're going to be overcome.
Yes.
And then the second round you can either be overcome or inspired, and the third round you can obviously, whichever way you decide to do it.
way, yeah. So that
Yep, that could work quite nicely and give you a little bit of flex there depending.
I don't quite know how they're going to do the overcome because it's quite a lot to do.
Well, I'm wondering, and this is, I think, will tie into their War Scroll, is I think that their War Scroll abilities will be based on whether they have a spirit counter or not, and then that will give them access to like an ability, which is maybe one use per round or something like
so
that.
Maybe they're not overcome anymore as such. It's just literally like if you've got a spirit counter, you can do X, Y, Z.
Access to these abilities, and if you're not overcome, if you don't have a spirit
Therefore,
counter, you're just inspired, so
yeah.
you're just a bit better anyway. So then you've got to think about, do I want to use this now? Do I want to use it later on?
Yeah, that could be quite nice actually. Yeah, I like that.
Stat-wise, looking at them, Sarkar is another leader who gets a range 3 2 damage attack, but on swords. He gets cleave as well, which feels a little overpowered to me. In the original version of the game, he also had cleave, but he was overpowered there too, so I wonder whether that maybe they should get rid of the cleave, just so we can avoid that.
Cleave is very strong.
It is very strong, and it does fit, especially with the 2 damage attack. Even though it's only 2 swords, you can get keen eyes, get an extra dice. I can't remember if that's melee only, so maybe that would stop it.
I think it is.
But there's other things that give you re-rolls and stuff like that, so it feels like it might be a little bit over the top. Other than that, though, a lot of the fighters don't really improve very much, and maybe that's because when you're inspired, you've already got solid stats anyway. They gain a few rune marks and things like that, but you're kind of really wanting them to be overcome and in this spirit state as well, and so maybe that's where you can end up more than being inspired. Maybe they're one of those warbands that you just don't care about inspiring so much. Overall, Gaul does get a Grievous when he's inspired, so he does go up 3 damage, but he doesn't get that ability to go from a 3 damage attack to maybe a 4 damage, which some others do.
Like your good friend Gareth can do.
Go, Gareth.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they do occupy that same space as the Crimson Court. They're very similar.
But maybe they'll have a little bit more shenanigans with the spirit state to get access to their abilities.
If they have a weakness, I feel like their defense isn't brilliant. It's like 1 dodge and 1 shield.
Yeah.
Maybe Sarkar is 2 dodges, and he do like to have 2 defense dice.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there are cards that can give you 2 defense dice.
There are, and again, the vampires, I think Duvet stays on
1.
I think a lot of them stay on 1 shield, actually. I think maybe the 2 weak ones, Velas and Batman, I think they go to 2 dodge, but I think otherwise they stay on 1 shield. And
it's okay then. I'm just looking at it.
It's always that
you've got
stat
to
you
charge
look
in
at.
and then stand there while you get hacked to pieces. But they're solid.
It could be that their spirit counter is their warband ability thing. It's the thing that you can do, and that's where you decide when you want to put it on or take it off and that kind of thing.
I think so.
And I think that might be their ability, and I think, as we've said, I think their War Scroll abilities will then tie into using those spirit counters
or
or
spirit thing, like maybe you can move and have flying, or maybe you can get +1 dice on your
exactly
for a round.
Yeah, because Gaul got +1 save when he was spirit, and Sarkar got fly and move, and so maybe we'll see things like that. Or perhaps we'll see some of their, because they had a lot, again, they were one of those warbands with some very nice thematic power cards, so maybe we'll see
You're seeing a theme here.
that tie in. We had Wurmspat before, they didn't have so many great power cards.
Fair enough.
But maybe we'll see something like Fierce Competition, where You gain an extra dice on an attack. So it's a bit like determined effort, but you need to have that spirit token to be able to use it. So you use that. It's a one-use ability, and you get that.
Or maybe self-command, which I think was remove a spirit counter to go on guard.
Yeah.
So
And that might then in turn also then inspire the fighter because you've removed the token or something like that.
Guard that's quite nice.
So that could be quite nice. But you do then lose the spirit counter, so maybe you lose the access to the other abilities. So that kind of all works itself out. Or something, Vicious Blows was another card they had, where you gain crit Grievous on your next attack, or just maybe even Grievous to get a +1 damage on that. But again, you have to expend your spirit token maybe.
And then the final one they might have, which was quite nice, was In Control. So you might have not, I think Sarakar you didn't tend to make spirited. Yeah. And then you kind of like move the others around.
Yeah.
It was push
everyone else.
So like controlling the animals, kind of beast side of them.
Yeah, which again, it would help with the move shenanigans as well. So even though, because they are flex, so they do want to be jumping on treasure tokens and stuff like that.
I can see that one being in there to for their boost their flexiness, because all the other things we talked about are very
mostly smashing people.
That would be quite good if that one was in there.
They did have a lot of power cards in the old version, which was like take your spirit token off and then remove the treasure token, because there was obviously in the old game there was lots of destroy the tokens, and they're not going to do that, I don't think, in this version.
There's none of that.
I can't really see them ever bringing that back, so that did cut out several of the cards, but I think they've got enough there with the spirit counters and the inspiring and uninspiring stuff to really give them a lot of flavour and a lot of flex appeal.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're going to be interesting. I don't think they're going to be as exciting for you as the Wurmspat, but they're going to be interesting.
No, I think, they're definitely another warband where, because they were so good the last time, we had that initial knee-jerk reaction where we're like, not playing that. Yeah. Just not touching them because they're too good.
Nice to and I actually painted them quite nicely.
They did look very nice.
I'm quite looking forward to having them back.
They are very nice models again. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Sarakar looks a bit Kalimarish, but the rest of them, they all look really nice.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look as Kalimarish as the squid.
So we've talked about the other 3 warbands, and then we come down to that last one.
Yeah, Thricefold Discord.
And they're a mastery warband, which they were before, and that's because their war scroll is all around, like they're into warfare, they're like their competition with each other, and people inspiring when other people fail.
Do we think they're going to change the war scroll? This is the first time we've addressed this issue in these series of videos.
If I were GW, it would make perfect sense to me to just go print that. Yeah. Print what we've got. Yeah. It's been literally play tested by hundreds and hundreds of people. Yeah. Just go with that. And I think that's probably what they're going to do. I think so too. I'm slightly concerned that they will not have had the most recent version when they print them. Oh, so that would be awful. So already be out of date. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'm really, really worried about that. I would quite like them to change it because I think they're a bit broken. That said, there have obviously been people who have done very well with them, but they haven't dominated the scene. We might be suffering from the very local influence of Imogen, who has annihilated everybody. Almost everybody who's stepped up to the plate has been swept aside by Imogen's skillful mastery of the Discord. And like you say, generally you don't see them a lot. No. And maybe they don't need that much of a nerf. Whilst we'd all love to see a brand new war scroll and new fighters and abilities, I think it's just too much to ask for in the circumstances. Like I think so. You get the warband. I can't see why they'd spend the money on changing them. I mean, I would change. There's a couple of things I would change. I actually don't like the swapping the upgrade thing. That one's really powerful. Yeah, I think I would change it so that your opponent gets to choose which one you swap. Yeah, you pick the fighter, they have to pick the So there are still times when you might be able to get them because they may only have one upgrade on them. Yeah, they only put great strength on there, and oh dear, now they're dead. Yeah, well, fortitude, but yeah. Yeah, sorry. But it does also mean you could quickly shovel one on there that you don't care about to protect them, which is still a negative play for you because you've had to put an upgrade on and use glory that you didn't want to just to protect their great fortitude. Yes. But I just feel like it's too much of a kick in the teeth. It is very powerful to be able to kill someone by giving them an upgrade. Especially with the ping damage. You can do some damage. I can't remember if you exactly can do this, but you can do some damage. You can ping them, and then you can check out the way they get fortitude and kill them. You can. That is exactly what can be done, and it is quite nasty. Is busted. That is. It does feel a little broken. So yeah, I agree. Making that a bit more. You pick the fighter, and your opponent picks the upgrade. Also, possibly say it has to be replaced with a light glory cost. So if you're going to get rid of their great fortitude, okay, but you've got to get rid of one of your two glory upgrades. It's like the same or less. Yes. And you almost wondered whether it ought to be the same or
more.
Or more, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to give you great speed.
Yeah.
So that's a 0 glory, and you're dead now. I think one of the most powerful aspects of them is that they have effectively 2 3 damage fighters, because Latafia is doing 2 damage, but she does the extra 1 damage. And she's more efficient as a damage dealer as well, because she can do that 1 extra damage to anyone.
Yeah.
Whether she makes a successful attack or not. So if she hits a 4 wound fighter, she'll just do 3 damage to them. If she hits a 3 or a 2 wound fighter, she'll do that 1 damage to someone else. Whereas if you have a 3 damage fighter and they hit a 2 wound fighter, you've effectively wasted the damage.
She can
be much more efficient and distribute that. So I think that possibly needs to key off of only successful attacks or something like that. And also with not Velmorn, he's the undead guy. Vexmore even. With Vexmore, he gets a great strength and a determined effort for not moving. And if you're as good as someone like Imogen, you can put him in a place where he's always going to be able to make those attacks without the bonuses. And I feel like maybe he should only get that once a round or something. Like if he does that, he gets a charge counter or something.
Yeah.
Because again, I know he's only 1 hammer, so he only goes up to 2 hammers, but you could give him cards, so he could be rolling 3 or 4 hammers with 3 damage, almost with impunity almost. So it does feel like those 2 fighters need a little bit of a nerf. But on the upside, I would probably reinstate their damage reduction ability, because they all only have 13, 12 wounds in the whole warband.
Vexmore's got 5, hasn't he?
Yes, I think the other 2 are both 4.
Right, okay.
So they're on 13 wounds in 3 fights. They haven't got as many as all the others.
No.
So you could probably ratchet up their damage reduction a bit more again, because I don't think that was ever the problem with them.
No, it's their lethality that's more of the issue.
It is, yes, I think so. And that is all coming with the proviso that we probably don't think they'll change anything.
I don't think they will.
And we're kind of hoping...
I'm just hoping to God they reflect the current
updates.
Yeah. If they don't, that would be shit.
That would be terrible. That would be absolutely awful. Going over the warbands coming out in this one, I'm more excited. I mean, my excitement for Wurmspat eclipses
everything.
all other boxes, but on balance, I'm probably more excited about the Order box than the Chaos box, because I would have rather had Skabbix over the Clawpack.
Right.
I would have rather had Garrix over the Gnarlspirit Pack. I would rather have not had Thricefold in there at all. Yeah, not my main choices this time round, I'm afraid.
No, I've never been much of a Chaos boy.
No.
But so I think I agree with you. I mean, the Order warbands, the Shadeborn and the Soul Raid in particular, are just really interesting warbands.
And the Starblood as well. They've just got so much shenanigans. It is what it is, and the fact that they've called them the Weavers without even including Garrick's Reavers will always sting. So what do you think about these warbands? Would you like to see some other warbands coming there, or do you think our predictions or our estimations of what they might look like are completely off base, and do you have better ideas?
If you do, put them in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, do consider clicking the like button.
And clicking that subscribe button.
Yeah, because you'll then get notifications of all our future videos. And if you want to, you can support us on Patreon, because we have to give them a shout out. Again, our Patreon supporters on our Discord, which we cherish and love. They helped us compile these changes. And particularly give a shout out to John. He's played a lot of Skittershank in the past, so he gave us lots of ideas for Skittershank. You can shape our content, and you can help us give us ideas for what to put in videos.
Yep. So hopefully we'll see you over there at some point, but if not, we'll almost definitely see you in the Spitewood.